Everyone, and welcome to the fourth session in the webinar series, Google Analytics for Agencies. This session, Optimizing AdWords in Search, will provide a list of tips and techniques for measuring and optimizing CPC search campaigns. I'm Jesse Nichols, and although this session is geared toward agencies, the information presented here will be relevant to most online marketers or web analysts. This session is intended to give step-by-step guidance on analysis activities related specifically to search and AdWords. In previous sessions, we were just learning how to use the tool, but here we'll learn about how you can optimize your search marketing activities by reviewing key insights that exist within Google Analytics. This then assumes that you're familiar with the new interface in Google Analytics and are comfortable with most of its analysis tools, including advanced segments and custom reports. Each session builds on the learning objectives of the sessions before it, so it's possible that you'll need to review the previous sessions in this series, which you can find by searching Analytics for Agencies on YouTube or by following one of the short links on the right side of the page. If you sign up to receive an email reminder before each of the upcoming live webinars, you follow the short link on the left and complete the registration form. So, in order to analyze CPC campaigns in Google Analytics, you first need to make sure that GA knows that the visitor came through a paid click. So, explained in the last webinar, measuring multi-channel media, if you have some sort of tag on your destination URL that GA can understand, it'll assume that the click came through as a referral, direct, or organic medium. And referral is just someone who visited through a website, and organic is just through a website that we've defined as a search engine. So to GA, it's very simple. Either the visitor typed the URL directly into the browser, they were sent by a website, or they're sent by a search engine. But in the last scenario, there's nothing that indicates whether or not you paid for that click. And even if there was that indication, you won't get other helpful information such as the campaign name or ad content without using a URL tag. So to review what we looked at in the last session regarding campaign tags for paid search. You'll note that the most important and part of this equation, right, is that you've denoted the medium as CPC. The medium is the method through which the visitor came to your site, and again, this would naturally be set to organic for search engine, but setting it to CPC will enable this data to show up in key reports. So although you may have other names for paid search, you may refer to it internally through other terms. Name CPC, specifically lowercase CPC, and being consistent with that naming convention will enable your data to show up in key reports and allow functions to be performed on it that will aid analysis and make the process much easier. And we'll review that within the interface in just a bit. You'll remember that also by using any of these parameters, you reset the others for Google Analytics. So you may know that you already get the correct source and even the correct keyword for organic search. And you may say, well, I can just set the medium to CPC with the URL tag and be fine. However, by the nature of the tool, if you use one of these tags, again, it resets the others. So if you are using UTM equals CPC, that URL tag, you'll need to go ahead and use the other campaign tags that are relevant. So if you set CPC, also be sure you set the source. And again, we recommend just using the name of the engine rather than the entire URL. It makes for easier analysis. Also want to make sure that you either set the actual keyword or that you use dynamic bracketed keyword insertion, as you can see here. And then finally, it's up to you as to what you set for campaign and ad content. Obviously, campaign name, as it's reflected in the search engine, can be helpful. However, since most search engine CPC tools also use ad groups, you may want to insert the campaign name and ad group. For the ad content, you may want to use your actual ad headline or some sort of version identification. But again, you'll need to make sure that you set all these tags for all paid search engines. Now, at this point, it's worth noting that you can also use the auto-tagging feature in AdWords, Again, that feature needs to be activated within the AdWords account, and you do need to make sure that you test your URLs to be compatible with it. I'll show a moment where in the AdWords you can, in your AdWords account, you can activate this, but it's important to note that specifically for AdWords, you can either auto tag or manually tag your URLs, but it's recommended not to both together. So it's fine if you're auto tagging AdWords and manually tagging all of your other paid search sources. In fact, auto tagging for other sources such as Bing or Yahoo. So for any other paid search source, you need to manually tag. But if you prefer to make your tagging practices a little bit easier, you may want to auto tag AdWords, manually tag the rest. Just make sure that AdWords doesn't have both tags. It can cause some confusion as to where the data shows up and how, which we could get into, though it's recommended, take my word for it, pick one of the strategies, whichever works best for you. When your AdWords account, to the next slide, you'll see an Analytics tab within your AdWords account. By clicking on that, you'll be brought to a menu. If you aren't already linked, you'll be brought to a menu that allows you to either create a free Analytics account directly from AdWords, or if you already have an Analytics account, you can link it from there. It's possible that your AdWords account is already linked to your Analytics account properly. It's also possible that it's linked to an old Analytics account that you no longer use, or to the wrong Analytics account, one of the other ones that you might manage. In any event, if you need to unlink an AdWords account, or if you need to link multiple AdWords accounts to a single Analytics account, you may need to contact your AdWords support team if you have one, or just contact general AdWords support if you don't. And that last note, linking multiple AdWords accounts to a single Analytics account is possible by contacting technical support. We're also beta testing a new feature that will allow you to do this on your own. So keep an eye out for that posting on the Google Analytics blog. Once that feature is complete and ready for the public, we're excited to allow advertisers to link all of their AdWords accounts into Analytics. The question is why link these two when clearly you could just set up manual tagging for all of your search engines and go from there? Well, linking AdWords to Analytics provides a few additional benefits. Namely, you'll see some reports where that is specifically passed through a linked account and not passed through a manually tagged AdWords account. So again, we'll see specific examples of this in a bit, but the deep integration between AdWords and Analytics allows you to get information about keyword position, information about your content network placements, and a variety of other benefits that aren't available through manual tags. And once the accounts are linked, auto tagging is automatically activated, and again, you may need to test a paid click or URL that looks like a paid click in order your landing page loads as expected. See here at the bottom of an example URL, it has a little parameter that's actually misspelled. It's GLID, not GLCID. But this parameter is added, and it's an encrypted number that AdWords puts on the end of your destination URL, just like a manual tag, but encrypted. And when Analytics sees that tag, it reads it, it knows how to interpret what's and how to match that identification number to what AdWords sent, and all of the data comes in automatically. Again, you'll want to test this to make sure that parameter works fine on your URLs. If it doesn't, you may need to talk to your webmaster, or you may need to turn off auto tagging in your AdWords settings and use manual tagging. But as you can see, is being reiterated, your visitor needs to land on your URL with a tag, either one that you've manually set yourself or one that's automatically set by AdWords. Once that's done, we can now move into the Analytics interface and talk about some strategies for optimization. So let me share this one. So we're going to show a manually tagged account because I want to show the simple benefits that you get from tagging all of your sources, and then move into an account that has auto tagging enabled, and you'll see the additional context that you get when AdWords is auto tagged. We're here on the Google blog Google Analytics blog account between 2 days when I was testing some campaign tags, and we're sending all traffic report. If this interface doesn't look familiar, again, this is the new interface. While you may default to the old interface, you'll see a new interface link here at the top of your account that you should be able to toy around with. Now, keep in mind this new interface is a beta. It's very subject to change, although the fundamental concepts behind this interface should remain static. You could see some additional changes before the new interface goes completely live for everyone. And I apologize if I navigate a little fast for some of you. Many of the skills I'll be employing in this session, we've trained to in previous sessions. So let's start by just locating search reports and seeing what data is immediate and automatic for you. This is just a breakdown between organic and paid. And what this is doing is looking for, again, any visitor whose medium was marked organic, and segmented apart from any visitor whose medium was marked CPC. I believe PPC is also caught in this paid dimension, this payment. However, again, it's recommended you use lowercase CPC, and we'll see some reasons for that later on. Again, you get a general overview of just how your organic data performs against paid data, and you can also measure that against your goals, commerce metrics if you have them. But again, what we're looking at here right now are just visitors who came from a search engine, namely those who either came through the medium organic or the medium CPC. There, you'll want to continue to click to the right, and again, you can get an overview and measure this against any of your other metrics by source. And right now, this is any source, organic or paid. And this is, I want to reiterate, this is a blend of all keywords, organic or paid. You may want to expand the number of rows for deeper analysis. You may want to use advanced search for such keywords such as branded keywords, or the advanced search for more specific keyword metrics. So maybe you want branded keywords that are converting. Excuse me. Here we are. Setup is just show me the keywords that contain a branded term and conversion rate is more than 0, which is to say at least somebody in that keyword group has converted. What you're starting to do is just simple analysis that enables certain keyword groups or keyword segments that you can then take action on in your AdWords account or decide to learn more about through methods. But again, once you start on the overview, when you overview report, you're mixing paid and organic together. You're just getting a high-level review of how everything operates, despite whether or not you paid for it. If you to the right to campaign, just note that your organic keywords do not have a campaign set. That's part of the nature of the campaign tag. It needs to be manually set. So if you see not set in your campaign, which I would expect almost all of you would, this is to say that these are your organic keywords where no campaign was set, or a paid keyword where for some reason campaign didn't come through. But you can see set as organic. Here are our paid keyword campaigns. Again, very simple analysis that you can run, just how did they perform against each other. There you'll want to start pivoting or drilling into key segments within these different lists of dimensions. So it might be that you say, well, it's good what how much Google is sending, but what I really want to know is more about the Google traffic. So if you drill into Google, as we talked about last time, start using the advanced complex dimension selection tool. So right now we're just looking at Google search, not all search, but just Google search, although it is paid and organic. If we just want to know Google search keywords, and then again analyze the performance here. Just want to know how is Google CPC doing against Google organic. We can as the medium dimension, just Google visitors. And again, the idea is that we've pivoted just Google search visitors, both paid and organic. pivot on Google, once we've kind of captured that segment of visitors, we kind of flip through, well, what else do we want to know about this, right? And so we have a sense of scope, how do our CPC visitors within Google perform compared to the organic visitors? We may then go back to the source report, and then how do our, I'm just pressing the back button right now. Well, how do our Bing visitors, right? We've found Bing search visitors. How do their medium compare, right? In this case, CPC is marginally much smaller margin, but marginally better than organic. And as we start to learn more and more and start to dive deeper into these segments, we start to identify, well, what are the key segments that we want to continue to flip through? We're still at a fairly broad level right now, right? And again, that's why we started out at overview. But as you learn about what exactly you'd like to know about the search engines, you start to identify the segments like just Google search visitors or just Google CPC search visitors and learn more about them. So how do we start with that? Let's move the left-hand nav to the organic list. Again, this is all keywords from search engines, but just organic. And we can perform similar functions. We can, if we're doing keyword discovery, we can say, well, what are the variations again on my brand that people are searching on, and how do those perform? What are all the keywords around a certain product? This is a Google blog, actually, not the Google store. So, make to know people who are actively looking for just analytics blogs and see if it's always related to our brand. And in fact, it's not. So maybe we can go a bit broader if we were to be bidding, again, for the analytics blog. But the idea is that you're picking specific topics or specific keyword clusters that you think would be relevant to a CPC search targeted campaign or would somehow tell you more about your visitors. So my recommendation is go to organic, start searching for term clumps that again will reveal something insightful about your visitors, and maybe you want to decide on specifically bidding or adding as a negative keyword certain types of keywords, or again you may want to develop more content if you think these people are performing very well. Again, the idea here is that you're using the advanced search filter, right, the advanced table filter, to just look through this table of organic keywords from all sources, right, just to redefine the segment we're looking in. With that segment, just saying what are the rows, this is what the advanced table filter does, what are the rows that fulfill a certain rule, right? So before, those rules were show me rows where the keyword contains custom or the keyword contains Android. That rule could be, once again, it could be some sort of metric. Show me the rows that that bounce, right? Show me the rows that have a greater than 0% bounce rate. Or even better, show me the keyword rows that had less than a 20% bounce rate. So if 20% is what we're shooting for, show me the rows where people seem to be really engaged, right? Maybe the high pages per visit, maybe they had a high goal conversion rate. Those are pretty soft goals, as you can see. So you can imagine why our goal conversion rate would be that high. Again, the idea is that you've taken this cluster and you start to dig. You just start to peel through your search reports, understand where are there opportunities that I could be bidding more on. If I want to know something, maybe searchization, I could be comparing. I could compare keyword performance over time and see what's trending up or down. Even go to the landing page report and say, well, what are my most popular landing pages? And to a landing page. So again, this is just organic visits to just this specific page. So I do it by clicking on it. And then, well, now that I'm pivoted on just this organic visitors who landed on this page, what keywords sent them here? Right? Deep analysis on very specific content. And you can see this is a page about absolute unique visitors, and as you can imagine, the key all absolute unique visitors. And this is still all organic, and this is for the possibility of finding new keywords that map to specific landing pages. You could say, well, this keyword seemed to do particularly well for the landing page, or this keyword did particularly poorly, so capitalize on that. And idea is you capture a specific segment of your visitors, you nail them down, such as organic search visitors who landed on this page, and start to understand, well, where are they coming from, right? What keywords did they use, and what else can I know about them? That's the organic report, and again, the concept here is to start by pivoting where you'd like to go, and you could have done the same operation we did before, where you pick a source and say, well, I just want to look at Google Organic, and I know in complex segmentation the keywords that Google Organic is sending. Know just pages that Google Organic is driving traffic to. From there, it should be reasonably obvious how you perform, or what kind of analysis to perform on this. You'll be, sorting by different metrics. You'll be exploring different metric groups. You'll export this for offline deeper analysis, or you'll just expand the rows to view this on your own. And the analysis that you're performing is just pivots on what's important to you, and then move from there. And you can go even deeper than this with custom reports, which I'll show you in a little bit. But we've at least started to nail down, what you can know about your organic visitors. And organic visitors are all tracked automatically. You don't need special tags from that. Keep in mind, though, if you aren't tagging your paid search, they'll show up in the organic reports with no indication that they were paid. So this is important to make that your other CPC search campaigns, all of them are being tagged appropriately, specifically as CPC. So to the paid report, and although this is AdWords, it should be fairly similar to what kinds of analysis you would do in the organic reports. And actually, I'm going to back this date range out just a little bit. So I got a campaign that I ran just by my own means. So I just created a bunch of tagged URLs, brought the page, and again, by landing on on the Google blog with a tag URL, it registered what looked like a paid visit. You'll see some dimensions here that'll reappear in AdWords, and particularly matched search query. So the keyword parameters from either the manual or automatic tag, and this is the keyword that you bid on, while the matched search query was the actual query or keyword that the person searched. So for those of you very familiar with paid search, you know that a broad match or a phrase match for AdWords, at least, could differ from what they actually searched on versus what you paid for. That match query only comes through when you've got a linked AdWords account, and it only comes through for AdWords. So again, it's part of the special relationship that AdWords has with analytics. But so I won't click on it here; it won't show anything. But I'll show you in a moment with the linked account what this looks like. Asking, and this is a side note, but an interesting one about what else could you, what other search engines could you include in this sort of thing, as Google product search, right, or image search. Actually, for image search, we don't have a tagging solution set up yet, and so we aren't able to monitor specifically who came through image search as opposed to organic search. And even then, I think that's included as Google referrals. So image searches are out for now, although we are investigating how to integrate that. For product search, when you upload your URL in the product feed, you can upload a tagged URL. And if you uploaded that URL as CPC, show up here. I'll want to keep in mind that it's not exactly CPC. You may want to tag product search in a way, and we'll review to access your tagged visitors just a moment. But search results is completely up to you. Just note that whoever you tag as CPC will show up in the paid search report. So if you tag them as medium CPC, they'll show up here. And this is up to you, obviously, and your business needs to determine what should be tagged as CPC. Again, for paid, start with keywords. And this is a cross search. Yes, this is a cross-engine analysis right now. For all search engines, top level, tell me how keywords are doing. Right? Are they performing against standard metrics, goal metrics, e-commerce metrics? And on top of that, how are they doing keyword groups? Right? So can I search for trends across all engines and understand how those perform? Or if you wanted to say, just me my Google keywords, right, you'll click on the dimension of source and nail down just your Google keywords. And then now looking at Google paid traffic, again, look for complex segmentation, look for the Google keywords. You can look for the campaigns. And again, the idea is that you're monitoring and analyzing the performance based on the metrics that matter to you. You can even just the ad content. And what I'm doing right now is just analyzing, well, within Google paid search, what else can I know about these visitors and about their performance and how it differed, and how can I make decisions like what to bid up or down based on that. And you may want to say, well, I want a combination of data here. It's not just about the campaign. I want to know for each campaign, I use similar ad text for each of them. So again, our primary dimension here is campaign, but we may want to add a secondary dimension, as was discussed in our last training or in trainings before, of, well, for each campaign, what ad content was the most effective. Right? See that the branded keywords campaign actually had two different ad copies, and let's see here. Enterprise class copy from the worse than Start Your Free Account, and Start Your Free Account in general seem to be performing better than Enterprise class. However, that just be against our one goal set. You want to keep in mind that if you have multiple goals or you have e-commerce goals, that some of these may weight more than others. So it might be that the enterprise class keywords are just, or enterprise class visitors are more valuable in the end than your Start Your Free Account keywords. So keep in mind as you do analysis to wrap some context around this and ensure that that when you make decisions based on performance, that again, that's the absolute most valuable metric for you. Back out of this, and again, what we did here was just on Google search by clicking on paid, and then search, and then CPC. We could have done the same experiment for Bing CPC. We could have added the secondary dimension here, and say I want to know how my ad copy does across. Different sources, right? So the same ad copy in different sources across different campaigns with different sources, and we get all of this very, very quickly. You know, diving to, well, it looks like the Bing audience responds a little better than this, while Google responds better to this. We could go in other directions, again, moving across these simple segments, and say, well, just our paid has a campaign defined, right? What are the despite they're on, how are my campaigns doing, and how does the ad content relate to that? Or you get out of this secondary segment and say, just how are my campaigns doing, regardless of what source they came. So product keyword, each of these campaigns had were running on multiple sources like Google, Bing, and Yahoo. But at the top level, how are each of my campaigns doing within paid search? And again, all of this data really only comes if you've got CPC set as the medium. So be consistent and be sure that you're tagging things ideally as simple as, that Google or Yahoo is as simply as possible, and your medium is as simply as possible. And if the consequences of not doing so would be that you may have paid search traffic that's showing up in strange places or places within your report suite that aren't as clear or easy to analyze on. Consistency is the key here. And you can see your paid search traffic, as deep as you can go on some of these. It's a tremendous amount larger amount of context and information you can get from this. So just one quick example before we move to the next report suite. We have a certain keyword that we're really curious about. We want to know, well, what was it about this keyword that was driving, let's use this one, that was driving so much, or actually one of this would be a great one to use. And again, this is really light data. There's not a lot of visits. It was just a test account, but I suggest using these same functions on your own or your client's account. And what we've pivoted on are just paid search keywords from any search engine when they were searching web analyst. right? Very small amount of our segment of our data, but it's a very valuable one. Maybe we are trying to market it to web analysts, and we want to know, well, what is it that's interesting to them? So we may, although it starts you on what ad content they seem to respond to the best, and again, based on the goals that we've set. I want to know, well, where are these people coming from? Sorry. You may what state they're coming from, or country, or what city coming from, right? So you start to pivot on this segment and say, well, what else can I know about these people? What are they doing that's distinct that I could target, right? Is there a certain landing page that they like a lot? And because it's the test account, you won't have too much data. But if you have e-commerce enabled or specific metrics enabled that really give a sense of where they explored on the site and what their value was, the fact that you can pivot on specific keyword segments and again flip through what else you might want to know about them. Again, am I targeting these people correctly based on where they came from? It's tremendously valuable data that you can access very quickly. It isn't available through most paid engines. From there, move to the campaigns report. We may circle back to paid search, but there is a limit to how much you can explore within the interface of paid search. Actually, we'll make one more note before we move on. So if you are interested in a clump of keywords and you want to know more about them, like where are, what geography are people who come from my branded keywords segment, right? One way to do that is to say, well, I'll click into this keyword first, or what ad content responds to my branded keywords the best. So you could say, well, first for this keyword, which includes my brand, what ad copy do they seem to respond to? And then you can back out and say, well, then for this one, right? So all you're trying to do is figure out consistently for every keyword, every visitor who came through a Google keyword, what ad content were they most responsive to? Advanced segment could help. And advanced segments were reviewed in some of the previous sessions, so I'll just go ahead and create one that's relevant to this. But we have a segment of visitors that we're interested in, which is to say branded visitors, branded paid visitors. And what we know about them is that first, the medium was CPC. Second, the keyword contains the brand, right? So you can see that if you tried to do it exactly match, this would be simply visitors who came through Google, or begins with or ends with. Again, these are a bunch of these are different identifiers for the rules, but the simplest one is just containing, right? Google is somewhere in the keyword, and we've got this branded page search keyword segment. Let's save it. It's a very small amount of our traffic, but if I'll note a very interesting or specific, or rather, so if we apply it to our paid search, you can see the only visitors we're looking at right now are those who have the brand in their name, right? So whatever analysis we do from here on out, just be on branded keywords. So if we want to know top level, campaigns are sending the most branded traffic, right? The content is sending the most branded traffic. And how do these ad copies perform differently based on the traffic? So once we pivoted on this segment of branded paid search visitors, we travel around the rest of these reports and say, what else do I want to know about them? Maybe I know where my branded search visitors are coming from, specific city they're coming from, again, so I can reach out. I know my brand is strongest in a certain place. They might respond the best to targeted emails, since my brand's already very strong. If I know my brand is not strong somewhere I'd like it to be, maybe I could do a lot of some more offline or display or brand-oriented marketing in order to drum up more brand-friendly traffic. So that advanced segment is a good example of one that's easy to create and can be very helpful. And of course, as I mentioned the last time, anytime you create a a positive segment, something that includes certain things. You may want to consider a negative segment. So maybe I want to know about all my CPC visitors who don't contain Google. What is the difference between branded CPC visitors and non-branded CPC visitors? By comparing those two segments, what can I learn about the difference between the two of them, and retargeting certain groups that behave in certain ways? So again, this advanced segment is just one example of how you might cluster analysis. I'll show you a few examples in a bit more. But let's move on to just the general campaigns report. So I'm going to do this segment. There we are. All right, so all traffic again, and navigate back to the campaigns report, all within traffic sources. And as we noted last time, this report shows you all visitors who have a campaign tag at all. So it's not just CPC or just your auto-tagged keywords. This is any tag. If we can see what media we've been sending through clicking on the medium dimension. You can see there's feed, social media, CPC, blog, display, different type of social media. This is all visitors. So not a lot of value that's added by the campaigns report for CPC outside of what value you already get from organic and paid, unless you named your CPC visitors with a media such as paid search or some internal identifier. So if you go to paid and you know that you tagged your paid visitors with some sort of campaign tag, you can find them in here. You may need to click on campaigns, find the item that you did tag them with, and now looking again at CPC visitors, 295 CPC visitors, 2 CPC visitors. It's the same traffic. So what I did is, this is the paid search traffic, right? There's 295 visitors. If for some reason I couldn't find them there, you should be able to medium and just source and medium. The one benefit that having the campaigns campaigns report for paid search might offer is clicking on source medium, which again give you a breakdown of how each source provides quickly, so you can dive quickly into Google CPC. But you're not getting a lot of value between paid visitors and campaign visitors as long as your data is showing up there. So, again, if you have questions about other paid traffic, please feel free to chat it in. I'm going to move into sorry, I'm just moving some panels around in WebEx. I'm into an account with Autotagging enabled. Give me just a moment. AdWords Campaigns. There. You can chat in and confirm that you can actually see the AdWords Campaigns report suite. If I can get a yes from anyone, I'll be able to move on. Someone says I see nothing. Let me just go back to the interface. Okay. If I can just get confirmation. Yeah, got it. Okay. Okay, so, what are we looking at here? Again, we're in the new interface. We're in traffic sources, incoming source. Here's all the reports we were just in. And a little bit like this. When you collapse incoming sources and expand AdWords, you see a very similar report suite. And there is a very important caveat about this. If you're manually tagging your AdWords data and you want to show up here, it actually absolutely needs to show up as Google CPC and nothing else. It needs to be lowercase Google CPC across source and then medium in order to show up here. And the reason is the AdWords report suite is looking for that combination, and that combination is what we use with the auto tag. So when you're manually tagging your AdWords accounts, I recommend simply staying within the paid search report. But the benefit that you might get here is that when you're manually tagging AdWords, you can go through some of these reports quickly and easily, as opposed to trying to use the paid, diving deep into paid search and then flipping through for simple segments. You can navigate the report suite a little bit quicker and easier with the AdWords section. But there's no additional value by using this report suite otherwise, right? This is the same data if you're manually tagging. If you're automatically tagging, not only do you not have to go through the process of manually applying and creating campaign tags for every one of your keywords, but you get a few dimensions and metrics that wouldn't otherwise be available. Let's go through those quickly. You'll see the simple ones are campaigns. Ad group is one you wouldn't have gotten, right? So we wanted to see a top-down performance of all your ad groups and be able to perform advanced filters, right? I just want to know ad groups who have a goal conversion rate more than, and again, we have a high goal conversion rate on this account, more than 50%. And actually, there are groups that have that. Oh, right, I'm in the Google store. This is different metrics. Let me turn this advanced filter off. So, let's say let's do a more clear-cut one. Maybe I want ad groups who have, again, about lower than 20, and let's see if we've got anything that fits the bill. Let's try bounce lower than 50%. Something more reliable. We might bounce rate lower than 60%. So Google Store, it's a demo account. Not always the best experience for visitors. We're working on optimizing it. Sorry, trying to remove some highlighting. Not always the best experience for visitors. We're trying to optimize it. But at the very least, if we wanted to know, show me all my ad groups really quickly who have a less than a certain bounce rate, or who have an amount of conversion rate, right, greater than, let's say, 0.5% conversion rate. I'll cross my fingers. Looks like we have at least. Right, if we're trying to do some very quick analysis and set some parameters on around ad groups, I find it personally easier to use this report, the ad group report, than to use the AdWords report suite, because again, you can quickly search through top-down report, all my keywords, how are they doing? And this is where you start to get these additional metrics such as match search query, right? I wanted to know not what we bid on, but what people actually searched on. We can go on that dimension and start to review, should I be adding keyword variations that I didn't have before? Should I try to analyze the keyword with the second dimension of matched search query, right? So this is first looking at the keywords you're bidding on the left, and you're saying, well, show me the additional context of that keyword. What was the keyword is matched to, right? A very simple way to go back and forth, right? And you start to look for differences. Google Shopping instead of Store, and how did that perform? Did Google Shopping perform better or worse than I would have anticipated? And again, you can expand the number of rows, dive deep into this data, and group them by logical means, right? Again, popular one is just searching for branded versus non-branded keywords. That's right. And you see that although the keyword is all keywords are all branded, there are certain words that it was matched to that were not branded. So again, maybe for your consideration for bidding purposes, just understanding better, how does Google Broad Match work? You can also look for specific. If you're an e-commerce store, or if you're a content store, or if you're a content shop, you can try to understand, well, what is it that's doing well in my account, and what is it that people are actually looking for, including the spellings, other languages, translations, and again, allow you to better understand how your keywords perform in context of the actual search. And you get other analysis capabilities at your fingertips here, right? All the campaigns in AdWords, all the ad groups, keywords. You can also easily get a top-down view of your ad copy, right? What ad copy performs the best. And moreover, understand how that context dimension tool works. You can say for each campaign, what are the most secondary dimension, what is the most effective ad copy, right? You get it down. So again, a lot of this data is still available in the other in manual tagging, but match search query, ad group, additional benefits. As we down the left-hand side, you'll see that you'll actually you can insert the match type with auto tagging. You can't do that with manual tagging. So if you wanted to get a top-down view, how are my match types performing? Just across the count, what performs best, right? At the click button, you can have a lot of this information very, very quickly. If you also bid on different match types for various keywords, right? We're looking now at just AdWords keywords, all campaigns, and a secondary dimension of match type perform best for each keyword. Do that very quickly as well, and there are many rows here that we could expand to, but this only comes with auto tagging, so another pitch to link or auto tag your accounts. And want to auto tag your accounts, they need to be linked. It's a kind of technologies work together. So again, recommended you either talk to your AdWords support rep or visit the AdWords and Analytics Help Center to learn more about this. Reports that are helpful, hours of the days that perform the best for your visitors. And for each hour, you can say, well, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting 5 in the morning. This is all based on your the in which you set up your analytics account. So for 5 o'clock in the morning, if I drill that and say, well, what is it that people are doing in the morning? What are people searching for, right? Since we're looking now at hour 5, keywords are hottest at that time. Whoops. What's the most? Although this is the AdWords report, so it would be Google. Ad copy is best at 5 a.m. And again, as this is a beta interface, some of the kinks might be getting worked out. But again, the idea here is navigate down the left side, find segments that interest you, drill into them, and start flipping through the other dimensions within that specific segment. And a segment is just a row and report, right? Define the row, and then and pivot that segment, that row, and learn what else you can that would be important. So again, what are you based on? You're bidding on geography, or you're bidding based on metrics performance, or you're bidding based on hour of day. So find those dimensions and understand how visitors perform within each of the specific types. Does morning perform better than afternoon? Does it matter if I'm talking about the morning in California rather than the morning in New York? Right. As you get more and more comfortable with the interface, you can define these segments and analyze them for further context. Destination URL and ad distribution networks, these also only come in through a tagged account, right? Even though your destination URL is technically your landing page, here it's a little different. Your destination URL is what you've set destination URL in AdWords, so if there was a redirect, it may look different. You get the ad distribution network and say, for just search or just search partners, what are the top destination URLs? What are the top keywords? Right? Are my search partners performing at parity or even better or worse than Google? And what can I know about that? Again, if you're doing a lot on the content network, drill into that. You can get a bit more context on, is there specific ad copy that's working best on my AdWords content network? Whoops. Again, instead of words I should be using. But again, this kind of analysis, right? It's not that it's not available at all through AdWords. It's that you get the additional context of how they perform once they're on your site. You can even start to pivot around these and understand better, what images they saw when they came from certain domains, what products were they most interested in, and how else did they engage with my site. So you can see here for just the placements, just the automatic content placements. Again, you can get get context on which of your ad copy was working the best on the content network, or you can even go down on a specific domain. Seems to be appearing a lot there. What ad content was working the best on just that domain? Use ads again. The idea here is that as you go deeper and deeper and deeper into the product, you get more and more insight as to it's not just that that website worked or that keyword worked. It's why it worked. What else can I know about this? And you know, is this a baseball site? Should I be targeting that site with baseball display ads and really kind of leveraging what seems to be performing well, right? And so again, the idea is move down the left side of the nav. You know, how things perform at a very superficial level, and go deeper, right? For keyword positions, which only comes through an auto-tagged account, how did each keyword perform at each place in the search results? How does, you know, within that, does the position change how many goals I get, or how many conversions I get? Does it tell me anything about the amount of, you know, return investment that I get for a specific position, and the content targeting wouldn't make any sense for position. And a tremendous amount of context very, very quickly, just based on, again, diving a little bit into a report and then flipping through other dimensions. Coming up the end of the hour, but hopefully you've gotten a little bit of context on how that gets into your paid search and your AdWords reports, what happens, what's there, how you can dig through that data to learn more about these visitors. There is almost an endless amount of research that could be done based on all the permutations and combinations of analysis here. But again, you're a little bit more comfortable with getting into these reports, drilling into segments that matter to you, and flipping through other dimensions that could somehow influence the way that you bid. Next session will be on display, as well as a few other types of advertising, such as social and even mobile. But these series, again, build on each other. So I'll be using many of these skills over and over throughout the rest of these series, and hopefully you can continue to pull more interesting insights from analytics. So for that, this is Jesse Nichols. Sign off. Have a great day, and hope to see you at all the future webinars.